Hello, everyone. Welcome to our overview of the incentives payment process. It's now 2 p.m., so let's get started. My name is Portia Baldad, and I'm the marketing manager for the Enerva and Summerhill team. Enerva and Summerhill are supporting Emissions Reduction Alberta with the design and execution of the Energy Savings for Business program. Thanks for joining us. Before we get started, let's go over a few housekeeping items. There are quite a few people attending today's webinar. As such, all microphones have been muted to avoid interruptions. Throughout the presentation, you can submit questions to our team through the questions feature on the control panel. We'll answer those questions during our Q&A period at the end of today's webinar. If you can't resolve your technical issues or need to leave early, we'll be posting a recording of this webinar on the ESB program website. It'll include both the presentation and the Q&A. Today, we'll begin with an update on the ESB program. We'll then give an overview of the incentives payment process and provide step-by-step instructions on how to complete this stage of the ESB program. The presentation will then end with a Q&A period. To recap, you can use the questions feature on the control panel to send in your questions. Today, Luca Youngin, ERA's program manager, will provide an update on the progress of the program. Then, Summerhill's Neil DeMello and Enerva's Myron Shrikantho will jump in to guide us through the incentives payment process. Now let's get right into it. Here's Luca to kick off today's presentation.
Thanks, Portia. We're happy to see a great interest in the Energy Savings for Business program. At this time, we've reserved almost 50% of the available incentive funding for project applications. This includes the 30% of the total incentive budget dedicated to solar PV, which reached full program subscription in late March. We've also received a flurry of post-project applications. To date, we have approved over 50 completed projects worth $500,000 in incentives. We also received a large volume of applications during the first 3 months of the program. This led to some delays in application turnaround, but we have since addressed the turnaround times, and thank you for your patience while we're doing so. Participants and contractors can now expect applications to be turned around in 5 business days. This means reviewing and approving applications or reviewing and issuing information requests. As such, having a fully completed application will speed up turnaround times. We encourage everyone to continue submitting applications to the ESB program. Please continue to check the website for program updates and new additions to the eligible measures list. You can submit multiple applications for your sites as long as you're under project and parent company limits. We have almost 300 measures available for incentives, including categories that have now not been offered previously, such as geothermal and compressed air. We have also made sure to include measures that are accessible to all businesses, like ceiling and wall insulation, efficient motors, lighting systems, and high-efficiency windows. We also recently introduced waste energy recovery measures based on the organic Rankine cycle and additional incentives for smaller CHP projects. Please review the latest measures list for all eligible incentives. We'll continue to host more events like this one to help guide contractors and applicants through the program. If you missed any of the past webinars, we will post them on the website. To register for future webinars or view recordings of past webinars, please visit eralberta.ca/ESB. As the program progresses, we're continuing to look for ways to make the program accessible to more businesses and easier to navigate. For example, participants can now grant their contractors additional access to their applications. The application system was originally designed to give participants full access to applications while restricting contractors to specific details. The system change will give contractors more flexibility while ensuring participants maintain proper control over their applications. As we previously mentioned, we've also greatly reduced review times. You can expect to have your application reviewed within 3 to 5 business days. Lastly, we're excited to announce the launch of Application Assist. This service is meant to help participants and contractors with 3 or more measures or additional project complexity applied to the program. The program team will work with you to build your application, help streamline your journey, answer your questions, and as a result, speed up the review process. We're also exploring new measures to add to the program, and we are always open to new suggestions. If you have new ideas, please send them to our contact center team, and we would love to hear them. If you have additional questions or require further assistance, please send a request to our support team. I'm now going to hand it over to Neil and Myron, who will be explaining the incentive payment process.
Thanks, Luca. I'm Neil DeMello, the support manager on the Enerva Summerhill team. We're proud to support Emissions Reduction Alberta through the delivery of the Energy Savings for Business program. To those on the line, thank you for calling into the webinar and for participating in the program. Today's webinar will cover the processes of receiving your incentives payments. I'm joined by Enerva's Myron Srikanta, who will help provide context and walk you through the process.
Hello, Neil. Hello, everyone who's attending.
So let's get started. Myron, can you confirm when the incentive payment process begins?
Yeah, so as the slide shows, Neil, the incentive payment process is the last step in the ESB program. It means your project has been completed and your applications have been approved for payment.
What happens after my application has been approved for payment?
So that's a great question. The approval will trigger a final financial confirmation. It will also trigger the process to set up your electronic funds transfer. The electronic funds transfer, or EFT, can either go to the participant or the contractor, whoever was designated as the payee during step 6 of the post-project application. Once the status has been updated to incentive recommended, you can expect to receive payment within 4 to 6 weeks by EFT.
Thanks, Myron. We'll take a closer look at the process in a minute, but first, let's cover some important details. Myron, can you please tell us what participants and contractors should expect when receiving payment?
Sure thing, Neil. Participants and contractors should note that Pluto, a third-party payment provider, has been contracted to process payments on behalf of the program. All payments will be performed electronically through a direct transfer to the bank account of the payee. As such, it is important to have the correct payee information and bank account name on your application. Pluto will be unable to validate the bank account or process the payment if the information does not match.
Thanks, Myron. Now let's look at the payment process.
So the following payment process instructions will only appear if you're assigned as the payee. To check, sign in to the program portal where you see your applications and you can view your applications. If you are a payee, you will see the icon in the top left corner. The two hands there looks like they're holding hands. Then, once the application reaches incentive approved status, the payment PIN will become available in the bottom right. Your payment PIN will be an important verification method throughout the process. It will be used to answer security questions asked by the payment provider, Pluto. Each application will receive a unique payment PIN. To view your PIN, you must agree to the 4 checkboxes that you see on the screen. Once you have checked off all 4 boxes, you can click View PIN and a numeric password will be displayed. Please write this password down or remember where it's located in the application portal, as you will need it to answer the security question and receive your payment. Once ERA has approved the payment process will begin. Once the payment infrastructure is set up for the specific project, the status will change to incentive payment in progress. This triggers an email that explains how to set up the payment for yourself. These instructions will also be posted on the ESB program website and on the application portal homepage shortly.
Thanks, Myron. Now let's jump into the process.
So Neil, with regards to the actual payment process itself, the process begins with an email from Pluto, our third-party payment provider. It includes a custom link that you must use to set up your payment. So you can see a screenshot of the email on the slide in front of you. You'll also note that the payment will be sent by Enerva Energy Solutions, As mentioned before, Enerva is supporting Emissions Reduction Alberta with the delivery of the program and will be listed on the payment information. To move forward from the email, click the Accept Payment button on the email. Next, you'll be transferred to a screen outlining your payment details. Take the time to look over the information, ensuring that the deposit amount is correct. Once your review is complete, click the Deposit to My Bank Account button, the blue button on the screen. You will then be prompted with on-screen instructions to connect your bank account. There are two ways for you to do so. Firstly, Pluto will display a list of major Canadian banks. Click on your bank to connect the account. Or you can manually enter your void check or EFT information by clicking the link at the bottom of the screen. Please note, the payee name must match the bank account name or the payment will not be successful. In step 4, take a minute to review your bank information. After confirming everything is correct, click the Accept Transfer button. If you have multiple applications with the same payee name, please select the checkbox to save your information for future payments. For step 5, it's the confirmation step. Once you accept the transfer, you'll see a green check mark. To see a summary of your payments, click View My Payments, that green button right there. The summary will list all the payments you received from the ESB program. In the status section, there are multiple statuses that can be displayed. Payment scheduled means the payment process has been started. Credit clearing means the payment is being cleared through the system. And payment completed indicates that the payment has been successfully deposited. It may take a few days for a payment to be cleared, as it must be verified by both the sending and receiving banks. Shortly after accepting the transfer, you will receive a confirmation email from Pluto letting you know the payment is being processed. Then once the payment gets there to your account, you'll receive another email from Pluto letting you know that your payment has been processed and deposited in your bank account. Finally, you will receive an email from the ESB program to let you know the payment has been confirmed. Please note, it may take longer to receive the ESB program confirmation. At this point, the application status will change to incentive payment completed, and the application card will turn green, as you can see on your screen.
Thanks, Myron. How will a contractor or applicant know which stage in the process they're in?
That's a great question, Neil. Let's go over the different statuses you will see for each of your application in the Payments tab of the application portal. First, you'll see Incentive Recommended. This means the application has completed the first review of the process, the technical review. This is where factors like eligibility and costs and proof of payments will be checked. Once your application has finished this review, ERA will be prompted to complete certain financial checks. After the financial checks are completed, you will see the status change to Incentive Approved. When your application is in Incentive Approved, the payee will be able to see the payee PIN. We saw that in one of the slides earlier. Once the ESB program has completed setting up the payment infrastructure for the specific project, the status will move to Incentive Payment in Progress, the third status in the table. At this stage, you will get an email with further instructions as we just reviewed. Finally, once the payment has been confirmed, the status will move to the final step, incentive payment completed. And you'll receive 2 payment confirmation emails. The first one from Pluto, the payment platform, confirming the payment has been deposited. And then the second from the ESB program, just as a secondary email to confirm that the payment has been completed.